guys, I think we're on. Are we on, Luke?
I believe so.
I think we are. Is the audio going up and down?
Yes.
Ah, good. No, so
Not the only thing.
What's going up and down in your life? Then? Yeah, right. Tonight, let me just move that there for a minute. Tonight, we're going to talk about Fender guitars. That's a Fender Telecaster, well, specifically Fender Telecaster guitars. Drink of the day. We've got to have a drink of the day. Luke's winked out on the drink of the day.
Yeah, I'm off the booze this week.
So, and I must be, I haven't been to the thing, so I'm having one of those.
A nice
Can we
San
see that?
Pellegrino.
I'll do that so the Instagram people can see as well. Yeah, so you understand what's going on here. We're beaming live to Instagram. We haven't quite worked out to connect it yet, so they can see what you see. So it's just literally a phone pointing at us over there, which is quite amusing. Anyway, we're going to talk about Fender Telecasters tonight. Do I need to do some social media shout-outs yet?
Probably
No,
not, but just tell people to comment and if they're experienced.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Fender Telecasters, but tell us if there's a guitar you prefer. Obviously, we shouldn't overlook the Rickenbacker, should we? But
well, let's be contentious then. Right. We're obviously going to talk about guitars, and more importantly, that guitar, and we've got a list of things to talk about around it. From a mod shoes point of view, I mean, the obvious one would be Weller's Rickenbacker, which he obviously nicked from the Beatles and Pete Townsend.
He did.
We did. Now, I've owned one in the past, and they're a great guitar, but I'd probably use that more. I mean, they look fantastic.
Rickenbackers look the part, but they're not. As you find out, a lot of these bands, include the Jam included, would have used the Rickenbacker live or for the look and in all the photo shoots and videos. But when it came to the recording,
Yeah.
they played different guitars.
Different guitars.
And Weller obviously famously used one when they did Precious on the Tube.
Yes,
He changed from the Rickenbacker to the Telecaster to play that, didn't he?
he did. So, but let's. So, if you disagree, put it in the comments below, whether you're on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, and then tell us what you actually think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, right. So, let's get on with this Fender Telecaster thing. Fender Telecaster guitar. It was originally called the
Broadcaster.
It was, and why is it not called the Broadcaster anymore?
You tell me, Andy.
Because Gretsch brought out a guitar at the same time, and
I
that was called a Broadcaster, but with a K. Apparently, it was called an Esquire for a little while, or something, because it was a single pickup. They're famous, and they're arguably the first proper one, because Fender got their first about 1950.
Yeah.
Les Paul and Fender around the same time. It's a great looking guitar, and it's basically that shape. It's stayed like that since 1950, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's a classic look, isn't it? But my personal preference towards Telecaster perhaps leans a bit more towards the look of it than it does the sound of it. In all honesty.
Okay.
So
what is it? What about? Because we've got a new phrase here. What makes that guitar great?
What makes this guitar, looks wise or sound wise? This particular one, because it's an American professional build.
Okay.
So it's just such a better build quality than I had one that looked very similar, if you remember, back in the replicas.
Yeah.
Which was like a Korean built one.
Yep.
And just the craftsmanship on it is just totally
and does it
different?
Just from a layman's point of view, because not everybody watching plays guitar like me and you, is it just easier to play?
Yeah.
And is it because like these bits here are kind of easier to get your head round?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they come with a better action, because I've only just bought this one, so you can take it to get them set up and all that kind of stuff to make them even better. But out the box, they just come really nice.
Now it's interesting you mentioned that, because when I started mod shoes, one of the quandaries I had was I was trying to work out about shoes, and I got that from guitars, because if you're a good guitar player like someone we know.
I'm no virtuoso.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start going on YouTube and posting videos myself.
Yeah. But you can make any guitar sort of sound okay. But when you've got kind of like £100 guitar, £80 guitar, and then you play a £1,000 guitar, it's like driving a car that's better set up. It's like wearing shoes that are just better made.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it arguably, is it worth that £900 more?
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm saying the one that I had that was Korean built before, almost on the face of it to somebody who doesn't know about guitars, I suppose, looked identical.
Yeah.
Because the natural finish on the wood as well is my preference.
Yeah, it's a good guitar. So, shall we talk about... Oh, yeah, so we've covered that. So, famous players. I'm going to reel some of these off, because there is quite a few. Steve Cropper, Booker T and the MGs. Green Onions is played on one of them. So the famous... that bit. The Linville... I never get his name. Linville Gordon of the Specials. He plays one. Luther Perkins in Johnny Cash. So that down 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 down. That is one of them. Of all people, Jerome Smith. Now Jerome Smith, you won't know, but he was the guitarist in Casey and the Sunshine Band, and you're thinking what? But you would be surprised how many disco songs Casey and the Sunshine Band played on. Famous one being Rock Me Baby. So, woman, take me in your arms. It's that dink, 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 dink.
And so did George McRae instead. But like, yeah, played guitar on a lot of those disco
it's
funk
amazing.
records.
Then into the more rock world, you've got Graham Coxon with Blur.
Which I think his guitar sound and playing a Telecaster obviously influenced a lot of later indie bands like Libertines and those kind of bands.
Definitely.
There's lots of Telecasters in that kind of stuff.
But I because we're going to mention Joe Strummer in a second.
Yeah.
But I reckon they probably got it from Joe Strummer.
Yeah.
And Joe Strummer makes out, I remember him saying he liked it because it was the most basic you could get. So he didn't want a kind of Gibson, which kind of...
it was a bit of a toss-up between the natural finish, which I like, and an all-black one like Joe Strummer played, because they do look really cool in all black.
Do you like the Wilco one, which is black with the red?
Funnily enough, I'm not a big fan of red guitars.
Oh, right, okay.
If they're cherry red, I like it. If they're sort of a bright red...
Oh, right, yeah. Is it a bit surf and rock and roll for you?
No, not particularly. I don't know. I think what it is because my first ever electric guitar
was a red guitar.
And it was just a cheap one. So then, like, obviously, then you look at you could get an expensive one now in exactly that colour scheme, but in my head it doesn't look like a
I get
a top of the range guitars. But.
So the guitar solo in Get Back by George Harrison in the Beatles is done on one of those. Numerous other people. So here, let's zoom from Syd Barrett and Pink Floyd, Jeff Beck and the Yardbirds, solo, all that stuff. Albert Collins, the blues guy, Wilco Johnson. Do you know Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells?
Telecaster used there.
Yeah. And there's two really good, nice ones at the end here. Andy Summers of the Police.
Yep.
And why you want an all black one? Noddy Holder of Slade. Noddy Holder had a pure black one, which is that why you really want the black one?
Yeah, it could be. And the matching hat.
So matching. Well, yeah, he did wear that hat. Yeah. That would be, it's in the pictures I was looking at. He's got that the red shirt, a waistcoat, those great big flared trousers, and he's got that black guitar. He just looks amazing. So,
but it goes to show you how versatile a guitar it is across that, because obviously you've got. In the more rocky stuff, they'd have a much more crunchy guitar sound, and because my other guitar plays a Fender Strat, which is the one I use in the band, and I bought that because it had the humbuckers in the bridge.
Oh, okay.
So when played for a valve amp, you can get that natural crunch rather than relying on a guitar pedal to do it. Which,
okay.
Which is
So why is it good, and why is it good for? Why is it good for it? I've got written here. What is it? No. What's it good for in your eyes? I've got several music genres here. Well, what are you thinking?
Personally, I think it's particularly good for the ska.
Yeah.
Because obviously, but obviously, something that wouldn't, for obvious reasons, get talked about too much on Mod Shoes Live. But obviously, it's a country guitar, isn't it? I mean, that's what they were kind of used for a lot.
Yeah.
To start with, which when you put it onto the bridge pickup, why you get that really kind of trebly sound.
So,
but also that then doubles up for the ska, like we said about the Specials, because Linville played a lot of the kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm just looking for comments.
And so it's great for that, and put it onto the middle pickup, and then we find it's got a much better sound for things like disco and stuff like that. I mean, obviously my favourite guitar player is Nile Rodgers, who actually uses a Strat, but I think they're not too far removed depending on which pickup you use.
Right, but you demonstrate by playing the start of the Elvis Suspicious Minds.
Suspicious Minds, which was played on the Telecaster. That was played on the Telecaster.
So that's. I would argue that bit there. Just give it a nice. Just do that bit again.
Oops.
Whoa.
I remember how to play it.
Now, what's interesting about that is the way why a lot of people like them is because they cut what they call cut through.
Yeah.
So in layman's terms, you hit that
Because
E string.
it's quite trebly, isn't it?
Yes. So when you're playing music, you want a guitar sometimes that cuts through. You're not going to hear the guitar all the time, but say like with something with Suspicious Minds, where it needs to just say I'm here. You couldn't play that on a Gibson.
No, you couldn't.
It just would.
Not a Les Paul or something like that, which I think very much lean towards the rock world, don't they?
They do, and I think that's where perhaps it would go wrong because sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once, as you can tell. Yeah, here we go. You can't get Les Wheeler. You can't get a bit of cherrying. Cherrying what?
He's talking about because I said the cherry red guitar.
Oh God Almighty! Where was I?
Well, it's probably a warning for him because I will start using this one in the band. It will replace the Strat when I eventually can do a gig again.
Right, what does that is, isn't it? Right, so we were talking about it being clean and cutting through. So, do we think, because I've got an interesting point here, the Clash, the Specials and the Manic Street Preachers all had one Telecaster and one Gibson live.
Yeah, that's true.
So do you think that's what complements why that complemented their sounds live because they were able to do that?
One much hard. I mean, Joe Strummer's one's still pretty gravelly, isn't it? But it's that's the amp more than the guitar, I would say. But yeah, having two different because that's what I always say about sort of rock, kind of Guns N' Roses type rock and stuff. Is you'll end up with two very rock guitars, and that's why they sound so.
But do Metallica use two?
They use like ESP guitars, which are like guitars that are specifically for heavy
making
metal.
that sort of sound.
For metal, yeah.
But if you don't like the Specials, a band like the Specials, where I think it works for them, is you've got the jink jink, and then you've got Roddy Radiation doing that. Wow, you know,
He does play a Les Paul, doesn't he? But he's sort of playing like rockabilly type guitar over the top of
a scar thing. Yeah. But likewise, though, but even if you think about like the Clash. You know, Joe played his, but it was more kind of. I always think with him, it was kind of something just to have on stage with him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he'd only be sort of whacking it.
Yeah.
Things, all the lead guitars.
Right, so we're getting rapidly through this. So we've got a couple of more. So do you? I don't think there's anything else to say about that other than that's why you would have that. One person might have that, and another person might have a different guitar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, you're going to demonstrate something, because I always think this is very nifty, and I'm very proud when he does this. Even Weller don't do this when he does the cover of it, does he?
No, I suppose he does. No.
So you're going to show us...
I have had a bit of an accident, though.
What did you do there?
Cut myself, obviously, I'm wearing a plaster.
Yeah.
Which was right on where I hold my plectrum.
Right, so you're going to show us the start of Thinking of You. Now, the reason I've asked Luke to do that it's because it's a bit nifty.
It's nifty. It should be played on a Strat, not on a Telecaster.
Well, yeah, but nevertheless, you wouldn't play that on a Gibson. That's the point.
And you wouldn't play it on bridge pickup because it'd be too harsh. Neck pickup probably for that.
So just demonstrate that. So play that for the people.
Well, play it how I think it should sound because it's the closest you're going to get to the Strat sound.
So go for it.
Played that on there, it just sound awful. You wouldn't want.
Yeah, you know that's horrendous.
Probably why it's done on a Strat, really. But those guitar bits are like why Niall is my favourite guitar player.
But that's why you play that on that guitar, because it has that. Well,
you couldn't play that on a Gibson Les Paul, and you can't play it on any kind of sort of semi-acoustic type guitar either, because I tried.
Oh, did you?
Right, a gig and failed. I just bought that Cherry guitar that I've got.
So what happens?
Well, that one particularly because it doesn't have a cutaway, so you can't get high enough.
Oh, really? Right, okay.
So that I didn't really think about that before. No.
That's what you did.
Started playing the song, I was like, oh.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's just not the right pickup. It just doesn't sound right. It's certainly on a hollow body because it doesn't. the sound's almost too deep.
Yeah.
It just gets the right balance there.
So what Luke means by that is, on that particular guitar, when you play it, you can't hear any bass. So if I had the bass here and went boom, 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 some guitars have a lot more what they call dynamic range. So my Sheraton is really, it fills a lot of space, as they call it. When we had the soul band, and we had a situation when the brass come along, that guitar was too, it was too in the mix. So I had to change guitars, and I went to a Gibson with a smaller range, not as small as that. But that, if I was playing like Motown, that dink, dink.
I mean, what
dink.
guitar was that?
Oh crap! I don't know. No. There was three guitarists, wasn't there, in the Funk Brothers?
Yeah, but because it's a very distinctive sound when it's doing that.
But that's because he DI'd it into the mixer, so they didn't put it through an amp. They deliberately put it into the mixer. So anyway,
but yeah, I think that to summarise with a Telecaster, I think, or a Stratocaster really, is they're very versatile. As we said with the list of people who use them. So when you're playing in a band like I play in the soul band, but we do Motown, Northern Soul, some disco, some funk, and just some general 60s stuff as well. It's one it's a one size fits all guitar.
Yeah, it's going to do the trick.
That's the beauty of it.
Right, I'm just going to do some shout outs to people then. Les is dominating there. I don't know what he's got against Roddy Radiation. I met him. He was all right actually, mate. He was all right with me. So must be Les. We've got loads of people watching. Pete Cole and usual sort of crowd. We've got some other business. Who else we got written here? There's Les Wheeler, Pete Cole, Gemma, Marianne. There's quite a few people watching at home. We've got a couple of things I must mention before we go and we play the tune. So today on the website we've got these back. Can we go to the close up for me? We've got a new version of the Pressons, slightly different soul. But it's got the cord, and these come in plain as well. So they've just put a bit on the website.
I steal a pair of those.
Yeah, I suspect you will. We've got a bit of a sale going on. Should we go to the camera if we can do that? We've got some of the 66 shirts. We've only got five or six of those on the website and the sale. The reason they are on the sale is because I want as many people as possible to wear these things. I've got one on now myself. I
was wearing one last week.
Yeah, I think once
not that one, obviously.
No, once you've got one and you work out what you're sizing in, I think it's a good introduction for people. So the idea was knock a few down, get them to wear them. You'll see the quality, see what you think about them. And without putting too fine a point in it, then hopefully you'll be a convert to our shirts, which I really, really like. Obviously,
yeah. I've worn them on stage and all sorts of things. And
yeah. I've worn this one. I've got about 5 which I'm rotating. Which I'm wearing to work and washing the hell out of just to make sure, just to prove that they're good shirts. So that's any other business. I don't think there's anything else I need to say. No. We will see you Friday. Introduce your song that we're going to play out with, Luke.
But before we say about that, we'll say we don't actually know what the subject is for Friday yet, do we?
No, because once we finish this one, we're going to sit down for 10 minutes and come up with some ideas.
Somebody recommended...
Oh, yeah. No, I've got 2 good ones.
Yeah, somebody recommended, because we talked about guitars tonight, so I'm assuming it must be a bass player who recommended this. Talk about the best bass lines in tracks.
Well, there's 2 obvious.
There's loads in...
Malice, and there's a town called Malice.
Well, see, are we going best bass line, or are we going most recognisable bass line? But anyway, maybe we'll discuss that. If anybody's got any ideas, put them in the comments.
Another one we heard, I think was from Pete Cole, one of our regular viewers, was car chases.
Oh.
Which I really like the idea of, but I need to watch a few more films to kind of... I know what films I know. Well, Blues Brothers just jumps
kick off with all the James Bond films.
Yeah. Well, perhaps we'll do car chases from the 1960s and then we'll move on to the new ones. So any ideas like that and anything random you want us to talk about, we're all ears and we'll be doing some more of those. So, that's it. It's done for me.
Yep, and me.
So, we'll see you on Friday. Andy, Luke, Mod Shoes Live. We'll see you again soon. We're playing out with...
a song I wrote a while ago, one I recorded at the studio before it closed. I've done all the parts on this one, a song called Can't Escape the Way I Feel. And it features this.
See you Friday.
How can thinking ever be a crime? Even when thinking of you takes up all of my time. And I really hope